Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Blue Dragon 5 here.
And Jacob Weil.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves in the midst of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, having started a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney+.
And tonight we bring you Secret Invasion, Episode 5, Harvest.
Yeah, that's right, we're in the penultimate episode.
Exactly. A Fury's Secret War.
Oh, I don't know if I'd call it that, but yeah.
Okay, personal war.
There you go.
And Secret Wars is something else.
I know, that's the thing. It's like, well...
But then again, considering how many people are involved, that's not really a secret war either.
Yeah. All right, so Jacob, is this the first time we've had you on for this, like in the show?
If as far as Secret Invasion goes, yes.
All right. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on the show?
Yeah, the shows I think is pretty interesting. I mean, doing some kind of like political action thrillers, kind of different for Marvel. It's not something that they do often. I mean, they kind of touched upon it in Winter Soldier and Civil War, but this is obviously a bit more. I don't know if I'd say lower stakes, but definitely a bit more personal. Like, funnily enough, Winter Soldier also heavily involved Nick Fury. So I guess it kind of comes with the territory. So, sorry, you were about to say something.
I was going to point out Demona B in the comments saying, hello.
Oh, hello there, Demona.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it's a good setup for the finale. I really hope it can deliver. Because I mean, that's the thing. When you look at the Disney Plus shows, usually there's kind of this pattern where we kind of go big on the penultimate, and then we kind of end in this tricky territory in the last episode. But I don't think we necessarily follow that pattern here. I don't think we necessarily knock our socks off in like a big we had like this. We had like episode 5 with necessarily all the substance. I think it's just very much teeing up. See how the finale. The biggest thing we got in this episode was our Super Skrull, kind of doing some fighting, but he wasn't quite fighting Fury yet. So I think that's been teased up for the last episode. So we're not fully there yet. But we are kind of gilding the lily. But yeah, I thought it's a good episode. I mean, overall, I like the series. I think after episode 1 is when it picked up. I just kind of wish. I don't know. It feels good, but also feels, and this episode kind of gets into it. It does feel a little limited without the Avengers, even though we have addressed in the show why we don't have the Avengers in here. I think it's a good reason why we don't have the Avengers in here, and we do have a personal story for Nick Fury. So all that works for me, and I like that. It just feels that in this episode, getting ready for the last one, it's like, okay, it's now dawning on you that there's one episode left in our story, and I don't know, there might be more real estate. There might be a little bit more real estate to explore and some questions to answer, and I don't think we're going to get it.
Depending on how long the final episode is.
That's true. This one was rather brief.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the first episode, like the first 2 episodes were like 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
But this one was only like 30 and some change.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they'll pick things up in the finale. Maybe it'll be another hour long. But then again, as you mentioned, there's a pattern that we've noticed. So
Disney Plus just can't seem to get the runtime. It has a lot of runtime issues when it comes to things. Usually with the MCU stuff.
Well, maybe that's more attributed to the Marvel side of things rather than just strictly Disney Plus.
Well, that's what I mean. It's mainly the Marvel side. A little bit of Marvel and Star Wars, but predominantly Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Mando really had this.
No, not Mando. I'm talking about the other stuff. I mean, depending who you ask, a little bit of Andor. I mean, probably Book of Boba Fett for sure.
Like I said, I haven't watched Andor, so I can't really say anything regarding the pacing of that.
Yeah. Anywho,
Like so, overall, I think that the series is kind of interesting. I mean, like I said, it's kind of a different take, and like I said, I do like, and of course, Samuel L. Jackson is killing it as Nick Fury as always.
hmm
So
yeah, I don't know if I ever told you about this, Jacob. I mentioned the Tiki when we started the show. I've been bringing it up, but since you actually can watch the show, I should probably tell you this. The idea of kind of like the last days of Nick Fury, at very least Old Man Fury, an Old Man Fury story. It is very reminiscent of Sam Jackson had this 6 episode series on Apple TV Plus. It's really good. It's called, I believe it's the Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. Ptolemy spelled with a P, like Ptolemy. But
like the Greek, like the Greek one.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean that's really good. It's basically It's based on a book, I think, where it's like Sam Jackson plays this elderly character who has memory problems, and he gets a treatment almost like Flash for Algernon style that restores his memory, and he's trying to solve the murder of his caretaker.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's really good, and his performance is wonderful, and it's very layered, and it's all over the place in all the many
We have
good ways.
another person saying hi. Go
Yes,
yes.
yeah. All right, on to the episode. So we start off with Fury at the hospital after the attack on the president's convoy that killed poor Talos.
Justice for Talos.
Yeah. So he's at the hospital and he's guarding the president. He's whispering to him desperately, hoping, praying that he can hear him. Says like the Skrulls weren't behind. The good. They're basically essentially the good Skrulls weren't behind this. Like this wasn't the.
It wasn't the Skrulls, and it
Oh
wasn't.
no, I'm sorry. He
It wasn't
said
the
it wasn't
Russians.
the Russians. Sorry, he said it wasn't the Russians because he's trying to not have it look like Basically, the plan was to frame the Russians. And he said no, it wasn't the Russians.
Like, and then who should come in?
Scrody.
Scrody.
It's a nickname John Kelling gave him.
Yep, and I still think it sounds dirty.
Little bit. So we have
I'm
these
a-
scroll. These
Yep. This Skrull Rhodey, or whatever you want to call him, basically tells everyone fooled except for Fury.
Don Cheadle loves playing a bad guy, so he's having a great time here. As they have this really great tense scene, because I gotta be honest, I'm watching this. I did not. Part of me thought, he might shoot him right here, right now, because that would expose him as a Skrull if he shoots him. But then it's a question of like, if Fury shoots him, will he get shot by the other Secret Servicemen? Like, will he be able to beat that bullet?
And and I also picked up on the fact that the other servicemen might also be Skrulls.
It is possible, yes.
I mean, that's the thing with this show is like you never know who could be a Skrull.
True.
Like the other Secret Servicemen could also be Skrulls.
At the point he's got his gun on Rhodey. He's very upset with him, especially after Talos got killed because of the actions and everything. And he reveals the little blackmail scene they had the last episode. He says he's already put it into motion. The clip has been leaked. It's going to be leaked in like 60 seconds.
Of Fury killing Maria Hill. Of Fury killing Maria Hill.
Yep, with Gravik having shapeshifted into him at the end of the first episode to do so. Which now, I gotta admit, looking back on that really gives an extra little benefit to what they were planning their long con was. Like, we have dirt on Fury to leak if we ever need to make him the most hunted man in America. Well, hunted man more than America.
Oh yeah, it's like they're not in America at this point.
That's what I mean. It's the most wanted.
Yeah, most wanted man in Britain.
Yeah.
At that point, or Europe, maybe. Let's just go with Europe.
All right.
So it's like they're basically calling Fury's bluff a lot of the time too. Like basically they're pushing him into a corner, and then with Fury, it's never a good idea to push Fury into a corner.
Well, he hits him with the butt of the gun just to make a point.
Basically,
I don't like you, Skrull girl. I don't like you.
Does he actually know that the Skrull is actually a girl?
I mean, he's been around a lot of Skrulls, and he married one, so I mean,
yeah, it is true.
You never, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so Fury's on the run, and he's unable to see the president, which is probably going to be an important plot point for our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So after that tense scene, long and short of it is Gravik. Gravik's got a crazy new plan.
You can even say it's insane.
Yes. Well, mad. No, that's the purple guy. No, anyway, so
It's like Mad Titan.
yeah, so his plan now is instead of killing the president, I'm going to keep the president alive. So the president can bomb New Skrullos, which is basically the Skrull compound that is in Russia, which will trigger World War III. I think reading between the lines here, and I could be wrong, because again there are some vagaries in this show at times where it feels like the plan is only the Super Skrulls will survive this attack. Or, I mean, to be fair, he could just evac the Skrulls from the place before it gets bombed, but it does not seem like he's mentioning survivors and everything. So it sounds like Gravik's that crazy. He's going to let them be bombed, and only the Super Skrulls who have been outfitted with extremists who would probably survive that blast will survive. So, like himself, you know,
I mean, it wouldn't put it past. I would put it
like a
past.
Darwinism of Skrulls sort of thing.
I mean, that would fall right into his wheelhouse, like with how he's been operating so far.
Yeah, like his true blue followers who are going to upgrade themselves will be fine, but anyone with doubts, they're going to be.
Social Darwinism.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so let's see. So his men, the Skrulls, turn on him. Like Pagan is like bringing up the point of like, hey, what's going on here? And then he kills him, and then was poor Beto. Beto was kind of our Skrull, who's like our eyes in kind of perspective character, and he and the rest of them just turn on Gravik, and it's a brutal and really cool sequence.
Yeah, they keep knocking him. They wrap plastic around his head, like they try and like choke him,
Yeah.
and his near death actually causes his Skrull form to come out.
Yeah, which I mean, it's a really great touch. So yeah, he's very.
He did come close to dying. It looks like.
Yeah, and then the Super Scroll came out, and it looked awesome when he's like using like I wish he used a little bit more than the Groot arm, but I think they're saving that for the last episode.
Yeah, like the Flora Colossus as they called it.
Yeah, he's got the Flora Colossus DNA, and he's got the Extremis DNA or Extremis.
I remember. I thought it was pronounced Extremis.
Well, that's the thing in the Iron Man movie they pronounce. That's the thing in the comics it was said it was pronounced like Extremis, but in the movie I think it's Extremis.
I mean, when I first heard about it, I called it Extremis.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still think that sounds best. Sounds cooler than Extremis.
Yeah, I know. I think it was just the MCU just trying to go for like that sounds a little more subtle.
Yeah, yeah, because people bursting into flames and exploding is subtle.
Well, yes, Jacob. Yeah.
That's,
Oh, rock you've been living under.
I don't know. What was I thinking?
Yeah. Silly. Anyway,
so
we have comments.
which one do you want to highlight?
Let's see.
Because they're all from the same guy.
Well, pick a card.
It's like people complaining about the pacing of Secret Invasion makes me wonder if it should have been in a film.
Well, that's a good question, given that this has been confirmed recently. I mean, we heard that Armor Wars went from a series to a film, which is true. But what we heard recently is that the reason that happened was a budgetary thing, where they were doing it as a show, and then they realized the show is going to be way too expensive to be a show, so we're going to have to make it a movie to justify and basically write off the cost. So that's what happened there. So I mean, here's the thing. I got to see how the last episode goes, but on its face, it does feel like we could have gotten basically used this as the Nick Fury movie. It kind of feels that way, but by the same token, though, it feels like because it's a show, we had to pad out a little bit of things with our other Skrull characters. Not to say they don't, they're not interesting. They don't quite factor into the plot. That's not true. They do factor in quite a great deal. Admittedly, Gaia is getting the short end of the stick, which we kind of try and fix in this episode, but it's kind of the damage has been done after 4 episodes with that. So it's a little hard to say. I mean, maybe if we're a movie, everyone would be able to shine more. We could have I don't know. It's unclear. We have a good flashback structure going on, which you still could have had in a movie. I don't know.
I mean, they've shown it'd be done in like as I mentioned earlier, the Captain America movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you usually talk
definitely going for that vibe. Yeah.
I mean, you talk so highly of a Winter Soldier, so.
I do, and I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like they were promising this was going to be very much, like Winter Soldier in tone. And I mean, after the first episode, I didn't quite get that. Episode two onward, I was starting to see. Okay, I see where they're getting that comparison from. I can see it lining up to those things for sure. And I can see them going for that. But yeah,
All right. It would be kind of interesting to see this as a movie, though.
yeah.
I mean, Nick Fury he has his own series, but now he definitely needs his own movie.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's in the cards after giving him a show like this. I don't think it's like, yeah, we're going to give him a movie too.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
If it was up for it, they'd do it.
All right,
So anyway, yeah, the Gravik his plan has basically gone from like find the Skrulls a new home to basically do anything it takes to kill Nick Fury.
the real question I have ultimately with Gravik is, did becoming a Super Skrull go to his head? Like, is this an ego move? Like, is it him just, like, completely losing his ground? Because that's the thing. Gravik did have a point. I mean, obviously, a point humanity wouldn't get behind, but just a point for the Skrulls, you know?
Yeah,
It's yeah, that all the Skrulls get on board for and kind of saw his point. Even like Gaia. Gaia was like, she was with her father, but she was still siding with what Gravik was, the belief of Gravik.
yeah. I mean, I do not know. Maybe that'll be made more clear in episode 6.
Yeah.
But but I mean, it could be like a combination of the fact that he did like a bit of a power trip, and also the fact that he thought Nick Fury would be out of his hair by now, and is getting more and more pissed off about it.
Here's the thing, and I don't know how much this is like the runtime of the series or not, where I love what Kingsley Ben-Adir is doing as this Gravik character. Like we've set up with him, we've set up that this guy had connections. He looked up to Fury as a leader, and he felt very betrayed by him. And now he's in a sense he's becoming the Fury for the Skrulls, in which this guy is steps ahead of Fury. He's a little younger than him, and he's got he's brimming with potential, and there's a lot there. And he's kind of right now in this episode, he's kind of pursuing his own form of the Avengers, like a Skrull version of the Avengers to some degree. And
which explains why he's looking for their DNA.
well, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. So all of that. So he is very much trying to supplant Fury, because Fury isn't fit for the job anymore in a sense. So I mean, this guy is very interesting, but so this is a big leap, and especially like hitting like the deep kind of issues he has with Fury right now. We've been seeing him do terrible things to Fury, and this scene is like teeing up like a big encounter for them. I just hope that big encounter is going to justify the time they've been spending apart. Because the last time they got together, something big happened, but it's been a while since we really had him in we had him in the same scene, episode 1. When Maria Hill got killed, and then when Talos got killed, and then probably the finale. So 3 times. And ordinarily, I'd be out of my mind, like, yeah, that's great. Like we kind of build into these very specific points. We have these encounters, but I don't know. Just given the hang up on Fury that we set up here, it just feels maybe it was, I don't know. Either we're missing something in flashback or missing something in present day. It just feels like we need like a little bit more, but I don't know. Maybe the last episode will tie it together in that regard.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Sometimes these things might have been better if they, released in bunches.
Yeah. I did catch kind of a mistake. At least I think it's a mistake. At least it's something I think they've been inconsistent with. The every time the Skrulls bleed when in human form, it should be purple, but we've been making it red. My justification for this earlier was that, okay, that's because they're in human mode and they're trying to still look human even when wounded. But this episode, when when Sonya kills a Skrull, the blood is purple. Now I don't know if it's just because it's a kill shot or not.
I mean, my guess on that is like she basically shot him in the head, and that might be brain.
That's the no. I'm saying when Skrull's blood naturally is purple, but when we've seen the human versions of the Skrulls wounded every time up to this point, it's been red.
Then you might be right. It might just because it was a kill shot. And
that's what I'm saying. That's the logic I have to hold on to. Like the only way that works is okay because it was a kill shot. Otherwise, like they should have been purple the whole time.
It's like we just had to see when she snipped off the guy's finger.
Yeah, it was red.
Yeah, that like the red part was on his hand, but when it turned green, did the inside turn purple, or was it red?
I don't know. I think it was purple, honestly, but I'd have to look.
So it might be so it might also like mask their blood until it gets exposed or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, or it could just be.
It's almost like that Piccolo logic from Dragon Ball, where it's like, well, sometimes Piccolo has red blood, sometimes he has green blood.
It's like, like is it like on purpose, or is it just like they can't remember which one, or is it like like Toriyama forgot again?
Well, Toriyama, obviously Toriyama didn't have that problem because the manga was black and white. But,
He did release color versions of them.
Yeah, but was he in charge of the coloring for those though?
I think so. I'm not sure, but
well, regardless,
so it's more of an anime issue. Then.
Well, I think honestly, with the anime, if memory serves, I think it was the censored version's green, but I think uncensored consistently has had red blood. But I don't know. I forget if they've mixed and matched between all the different permutations of the re-releases of Dragon Ball Z. That I can't remember.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's see. So we return to I believe it's Brixton.
Yeah.
And this place, we go to this place where this is where Fury made the promise to the Skrulls in '97, which again to me is the biggest issue of the show. Still, is just the fact that we never addressed or fully called out in the writing. Like, okay, we really got to address like how Captain Marvel and specifically Captain Marvel, but I guess Marvel and Fury have kind of dropped the ball in finding the Skrulls that new planet. Because a lot of we're going from technically going from '95 to to 2018 and still no planet.
No, it has a riff from it. Well, I guess Adam. Now that isn't that why they were revolting in the first place?
Well, no, that's well, Jacob. The Skrulls were in a war. They were in a war with the Kree because I forget if the Kree were the ones that destroyed their. I think the Kree destroyed their planet. I think, but the point being. The Skrulls were without a plan. They were just trying to find planets and infiltrate planets. That was their whole. Yes.
Well, the one ambassador did say it's like we're not on the brink of extinction for avoiding war. We're on the brink of extinction for going into war.
Yeah. So, regardless, it's just the fact that the Skrulls have like. It feels like originally that's what they were fighting for, and then it was like, hey, we're gonna find you a new planet. Captain Marvel's gonna help. She's like taking the ship, and she went off into space. What the heck happened? We never said what the heck happened.
Well, maybe that's another episode 6 thing we need to look forward to.
I mean, maybe, but if they don't open episode 6 with that flashback, it's like, man, we. It's also the thing of like we have the Marvels coming up, and you think maybe the Marvels will address it, but it's just this information when it's written into the crux of the dilemma of like why the Skrulls have gone bad because we did the big subversion. If the Skrulls are actually good, then the Kree were bad, and in this case, like there are bad Skrulls, and here's what made them go bad. We don't, we should mention if we're going to mention okay, this is why things went south. How the heck did things go south?
Like I said, maybe we'll learn more in episode 6.
Yeah.
Was this kind of thing like? Well, didn't they kind of like cover this kind of secret invasion thing in Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Well, yeah, they had in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I think it was season 2.
I remember the Captain America scroll, but was that in Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Yes, Jacob.
All right. Well, sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, season two of Earth's Mightiest Heroes was Skrulls. They did their take on Secret Invasion. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. All right. So obviously that was more true to the comics, considering it featured more heroes instead of just Nick Fury.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering how it's like stacked up against this thing.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, where were we?
All right. So let's see. So poor Talos. Talos is now like the poster, kind of the propaganda poster child for like there are aliens, the shape shifting aliens among us. The word's out on the Skrulls, and and now Talos is kind of like the big bad guy Skrull, at least as far as the media is concerned, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Gaia, she's processing her father's death and planning his funeral. I do question how Fury got the body, because to me, the end of the last episode was a really big dramatic point where Fury was not able to get the body. He had to leave his friend behind. And I imagine that was going to be okay. They got the body, and they're going to, it's going to be a thing where like, oh, poor, they're like the government's going to have the body, and it's going to this whole thing where it's like, oh, they're going to dissect poor Talos.
And Gaia, I didn't think about it until like midway through, but like they're actually both named after mythological figures.
Yep.
I didn't catch that. I was like, oh, Gaia Talos. Yeah, there you go. But now that it's like Gaia actually calls her father Talos. It calls him like a coward, and Fury doesn't have any of that. He basically said he chose the path of struggle. He did not lose.
It's nice how this place that they're in is it was a place for immigrants from the West Indies who were fleeing during World War II. So again, it was kind of like the Skrulls, very much immigrants to the planet kind of layer.
And it kind of ties into what Nick Fury was talking about with him and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So I will say this: is a missed opportunity. I imagine it's going to be a reveal in the last episode, but still, it just feels like we really strongly teed that up, and we didn't see any of that at all. So it must be like a reveal of some kind. Gaia said she'll put a nice face on, so like her main shape shifting face to get out of places. It feels, I wonder. Some speculate maybe it's going to be Coulson. I'm not sure. Right now, there's a lot of controversy going on. Well, not controversy, like a big like storm cloud kind of controversy, just light sprinkling controversy. It's the idea that not Iger's been without getting into all the messy deals. Iger's been putting his foot in his mouth lately, unfortunately, and he's been saying stuff at Marvel Television. Like Clark Gregg had this great response, like, "Seriously, bro."
Oh.
Just basically him like saying, Marvel Television was never really, basically until Disney Plus, Marvel Television wasn't really anything to sneeze at, and it was, of course, Agents of Shield and everything. Like, hey,
wow, that's a bit much.
That's what I'm saying. Just like him, it's like, hey, come on, man.
I mean, Agents of Shield is probably like the good one out of all of the Marvel stuff, and that's probably what he meant.
Yeah, of course, not in fact in the Netflix stuff, but it's.
I mean, maybe he has a personal bias. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's the fact that recently Coulson's been on people's minds, so I don't know if the speculation is mainly coming from that or if it's like actually, be a way of getting Coulson back in a sense, like in mainline MCU and via Skrull, which is kind of what we did in Captain Marvel. So it's possible, but I don't know. It feels like we're gonna have like a big cameo of some hero as a Skrull, like in her shape shifting of this person. That's what it feels like we're gonna do. We're gonna have like a big stunt casting cameo next episode.
Who could it be? I wonder.
Well, that's a thing. You could speculate who makes sense, but I don't know.
Like, well, who knows? Maybe if she comes in contact with the DNA, we'll find out.
Yeah. All right. So Sonya, she's on the harvest trail. She finds the scientist couple. We've seen the wife. We never saw the husband. So she went to the home base in Finland. She found this home base by going to director Weatherly, which was a little. I gotta admit, they did this again. It's something that it's not. We double casted in the MCU again, and it's like a thing where it kind of dismays me to some degree. Of like, come on, guys, really? Or it's like we've recast it again from internally from the Netflix shows, and it feels like it's probably like we're wiping the slate clean. We're just gonna cast them again, even though I think there is wiggle room that it can work. But it's.
I think so. So who is it?
Director Weatherly was I'm blank on the last name, but he was Finn. It was Finn something in Daredevil season 2. Now Finn was Finn was this Irish mobster who was a Punisher villain who got killed by the Punisher.
All right.
In the Netflix show and in the comic. So yeah, he was good actor. I love him. He's in a show called Your Honor. He was really good in it. So he played director. I thought I recognized him. We glimpsed him. Is that him? And sure enough, that's Yeah, they cast the same actor, and this is not the first time this has happened in the MCU between the MCU stuff and the stuff that's kind of like on the bubble. But even in the universe, though, look at this. You have Agent Sousa from Agent Carter. He was in the Avengers.
All right.
That's something that's like Agent Carter has been referenced in the MCU with Endgame. We brought that Jarvis in mainline in mainline stuff.
Yep, that was great.
And beyond that, then you have your double casting with Netflix, which you have Melvin Potter. He was in the Hail to the King short, and then we had the Hail the Mandarin short.
Yeah, I know.
Then let's see, and then you have Mahershala Ali, as Cottonmouth, and now to be Blade.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest examples.
Those are the biggest examples. That's what I'm saying. We've kind of doing a little bit of that here, and it's just again, this is not like a big egregious version of it because I mean, obviously, it helps it helps when the characters are dead when we do this sort of thing. Honestly,
The question is, I have a quick question though. Was he killed in Daredevil or was he killed in Punisher?
no, the Punisher was introduced in Daredevil season 2, so Punisher killed him in Daredevil season 2.
All right, I didn't know if Finn was killed in Punisher or whatever.
No, I'm saying he's a Punisher villain in the comics. So when they introduced the Punisher in Daredevil, they threw in a Punisher villain, which was this guy, and
all right, all right.
Anyway, so point being, she basically shot that guy, proved he was a Skrull, and that gave her the lead. She found the husband and wife duo, and she shoots the husband point blank in the head, purple blood. Anyway, so Harvest. So let's talk about what Harvest is exactly.
Now, Harvest is a collection of a lot of, as Fury put it, a lot of blood was spilt in the Battle of Earth against Thanos.
The Endgame battle,
basically. Yes, and basically, he had a bunch of people go in and collect blood samples.
Now, I have a nitpick, a gripe about this, and we'll see. The last it's kind of a wait. A lot of my gripes are wait and see because we have one episode left. When we get Harvest at the end of this, the implication to me is that that's all the samples in like one vial, which seems like a really bad idea. Like who on earth? I mean, let alone Fury is like, yeah, I'm going to collect all the DNA samples and put them in one vial. We've seen the trouble that both Captain America's blood and the Hulk's blood can cause. Let's just take all the Avengers' blood. First of all, let's collect all the Avengers' blood versus. And now, to be fair, Fury could have just instructed the Skrulls to wipe everything clean with the blood, and then they pocket it for a rainy day. That's entirely possible. But then again, if that had happened, the Skrulls would already have it, and then Fury wouldn't have to have hid it away somewhere. So that's a problem already. So I'm having several issues with this blood thing until we see it in action, because it feels like, why would Fury do this, especially after at this juncture Fury's very much not keeping like big like team breaking up kind of secrets that he did in the first Avengers movie from the Avengers. Like he hasn't really done anything like that ever since then. And I don't know, it just feels like, plus it just seems like kind of really specific that he combined them all into like the perfect blood serum, because it's like a little green serum versus like a red blood vial. I don't know if we're going to reveal it's just one sample of many, but it sounds like he was after like the whole lot that is somehow combined in this one bullet looking like vial.
It could be like like a Jurassic Park thing where it's just like one little thing and like it has a bunch of different little samples in it.
I mean, I guess it's possible. It looked like a glass vial, Jacob. I don't know if there's like much to it beyond that. I mean, I could be wrong.
Or it could be like a key to access it for all we know, too.
I mean that's cool. It looked rather liquidy.
I know, and I mean, remember we did have liquid trackers in that whiskey.
Well, yeah, but it's like a liquid. You have to ingest that, Jacob. But
I know what I'm saying. This series has done strange things with liquid.
All right. Anyway, so other technological things we should mention. Let's talk about the Widow's Veil.
Yep, it's like Fury actually used it to disguise himself to get into Finland.
Yeah, so we have two Black Widow references in this episode. Rick Mason, he was the guy on the plane that helped Natasha out when she was on the lam and after Civil War at the top of the Black Widow movie. So the guy who gets things within Shield, that's Rick Mason. That's the guy who was on the plane making all the funnies.
And also one of Hulk's friends in the comics.
No, that's Rick Jones.
Rick Jones, right?
So. Yeah, I know it's confusing when you think. I know. I think everyone probably thought something similar, but no, it's a different guy, different Rick.
Yeah, we haven't seen Rick Jones then.
I know it's well. Here's the thing: Rick Jones was he's listed in he's an Easter egg in the Incredible Hulk. When you go into the files, and Rick Mason's listed in the Incredible Hulk tie-in video game, which obviously has no bearing really on the MCU, but it's nothing saying it didn't happen. In that, Rick Mason is character. Sorry, I'm sorry, Rick Jones. Now you got me doing. Rick Jones is a character in that game.
All right.
It's pretty good. It's like the Hulk sidekick in that game, so it works. Anyway, so we named the device from Captain America: Winter Soldier, which is a cool double reference because one again was used in Winter Soldier. That's how Black Widow pretended to be one of the council members and took on Robert Redford. He took on Alexander Pierce.
Yeah.
And secondly, Black Widow in her original design before they referred if I recall, I know John Romita Sr. put her in the black outfit. I forget if he made her a redhead or not. That I can't remember. But Black Widow's original look, she was like I believe she had dark hair and she had a veil, like a little like veil as if she were like a Black Widow. And assuming that is the case, again, Widow's Veil. So we gave it like a little nice title. It's kind of referential and update, and gave like Black. We found a way to make it work in the revamp of her.
All right.
And we have comments.
Yeah, which one?
Well, the new one, Jacob.
Hope you're well. Hope we haven't heard from President Ellis since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who survived the extremist conflict in Iron Man at 3. In return to help Fury would be cool.
Yeah, non-presidential capacity helping Fury. It would be nice.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be nice. Like, that's the thing. He hasn't really had any. He helped Iron Man in a heartbeat, I'm sure, but he's long gone. I don't know if he'd help Fury necessarily.
Let's see. And as for like the veil thing, it's like it only covers your it only covers your face. That's the newer model. This is the older one. Which is nice.
Yeah, also it's just here's kind of a nice layer to add things. If Fury supplied that to Black Widow, I think he was inspired by the Skrulls to create that.
Yeah, that actually might be a good like tie into that.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's my headcanon at least.
Yeah, I can see it. I buy it.
All right, so Sonya, here's kind of an issue in the writing where Sonya asks, like, why not call your friends? Now, Fury, Jackson gives this nice flowery speech about, how basically, he needs to do this on his own, and it leads to this really great line at the end, the whole, like, if I can't do this, maybe I am just dust. Like, that's a really good line in reference to the whole, maybe I shouldn't have been brought back. From the snap.
Yeah.
Now, the issue is that we already had it's not the end of the world that we kind of do this twice. It just feels kind of odd that we double dip where it's like earlier Gravik, Talos mentioned this to Fury. Someone mentioned this to Fury, and then the response was, I'm sorry, actually, Fury mentioned this to what he thought was Rhodey, actually Scrody. And now when you look back on it retroactively, it's like, hey, Rhodey really wants to get his hands on the Avengers. So, yeah, call in the Avengers. Let's bring them in. And Fury says, well, no, because then the Skrulls will be impersonating the Avengers, and we don't want that.
Yeah, which I think is probably a good...
It's a very good reason. That's my point. We already had a very good reason. This basically we kind of drudged it up again just so we can have Fury kind of lamenting on, like, I didn't want to do it for this reason. Well, no, Fury, the original reason you gave made a lot of sense, and this reason's like a pride reason, which is like, I should fight. I can't depend on superheroes to bail me out of my problems all the time. Well, that's true, but this is kind of like a big threat here. The reason you gave before is a valid reason not to call him in. I don't understand why we're kind of changing just because the penultimate episode, it sounds like.
It's an Avengers level threat.
Yeah, it's a nice line, but it just feels like, we already kind of gave a good enough reason already. Why are we doing it again?
Yeah.
Right. So, other thing to mention, Gaia and Priscilla, Fury's wife. We had a nice little funeral for Talos, a little traditional Skrull funeral.
Although before that, I do speaking of like him and Sylvia, I did kind of like when he actually got one up on her with mentioning Rhodey.
Yep. Like, oh, you didn't know. Oh, look who's out of date, out of touch now.
I thought that was nice. Like,
well, who isn't a Skrull these days?
She's just trying to obfuscate it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like but yeah, Gaia getting along with Scylla.
Yep.
That was great.
Also, this is kind of nice because initially I was kind of raising my eyebrow at it, but like Gravik's plan, which again is crazy, but also for a moment I was afraid it wasn't going to make any sense. But then I realized, I mean, it does make sense, but they're not really spelling it out in the way I think they should. But they kind of do later with Fury, where they point out that there are the real people that have been impersonated are in the basement of this place. So if that place gets bombed, innocent people are also getting bombed.
Yeah. And who knows where they're keeping Rhodey if they're keeping
That's what
Rhodey
I'm saying.
down.
That's what I'm saying. Rhodey's most likely down there, so also we're going to kill the real Rhodey, which we don't want to do.
And also like the real head of NATO, the real prime minister.
Possibly the real Ross, Everett Ross, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, they killed the Skrull that was impersonating him anyway, so.
Well, yeah, they killed that Skrull. I'm saying like the real guy still might be down there for all we know.
Yeah, so I wonder why nobody else has tried to impersonate Ross at this point.
Well, that's a good point. I guess I don't know why. All right, so okay, let's see. So anyway, so we have this. You have Guy and Priscilla. Little funeral for Talos.
kind of like a funeral pie, like a Viking funeral pyre.
Yeah, yeah. Then we have this gun battle at the house for the reason that Priscilla isn't going to like flee for her life. She's going to leave the house that she essentially made with her husband. She doesn't want to leave it. She won't flee from her home in her last day. She'll give it her all fighting against them. But if she dies at home.
Yeah. Actually, another comment from Travis. Fury movie with David Hasselhoff introduced a life model decoy of Nick Fury, which is used as a distraction and sent it to in this show when Fury takes his mask off. Two Furies could be a fun twist. Like, what if like one of the other Skrulls like actually that could be like what Gaia does to get a trick on Gravik, disguise herself as Nick Fury.
That is a fair point. Might happen. Who knows?
I mean, like pull a reversal of what he did.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it was nice seeing Priscilla and Gaia bond. like this is basically her house that she built with Nick. And I said, since I haven't been here, I said I just love like the relationship between Priscilla and Nick Fury.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And like I love the backstory of how she chose her as a host.
Yeah, she befriended the dying woman and everything.
Yeah, but with the three conditions: be like bury her at sea, be the daughter to be the children, be the daughter to her parents, and never let anything happen to Nick.
Yeah,
that I just love that.
Very nice.
Code Geass says David Hasselhoff should guest star as an alternate universe Nick Fury.
Well, let's just wait until Secret Wars for that one.
Yeah, who knows? Like, I could only imagine if Sam Jackson version sees him, he's like, "Who's this guy?"
It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility because we did bring Hasselhoff into a Marvel movie already.
Yeah, but I mean,
hey, he was very memorably in that movie. They built him up too. It was like, hey, we got this photo of him. We're mentioning his show, and then we have Kurt Russell turn into David Hasselhoff for a moment.
Not to mention the fact that he performed a whole song.
Yep, it's possible.
In these times of hardship.
It's not like Hasselhoff's doing anything else,
No idea. Just remember, we are good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it would be kind of funny to say, "Who's this guy?" But all right, so as we were saying, like after the battle I think where were we? Sorry.
After the gun battle,
Yeah.
we have the gun battle between them. It's a little bonding moment. Let's see. So after that, we have then we check back in with Fury and Sonya, and Fury suits up.
Oh yeah.
He grabs the harvest. Essentially, Gravik called him to make a deal. Like, hey, give me the harvest. Little harvest. I guess the harvest vial with all the Avengers blood in it. Which we'll see how that works. And in exchange, I'll abandon my bombing plans. I'll put a stop to this. Just that's he's probably going to kill Fury in the process. I mean, I don't know if he's still going to go with that. I think there's no honor on Gravik. I don't know if he's going to do any of this.
I still believe that even if he did get the harvest, he'd go through with the bombing.
That's a thing. It's probably going to happen anyway. So Fury's smart enough to know that. Fury's got something up his sleeve. We just don't know exactly what it is yet.
I mean, he's been through 5 whole phases of this stuff.
Yeah.
So or 4 at this point.
Yeah.
So I think he knows what he's doing.
And he does. So to do so, he's got to face Gravik. He's got to face him in style. So we reveal. Oh, by the way, fun fact with Winter Soldier, we reveal that Fury has graves all around the world where he kind of houses stuff.
And yeah, it's like dead man's got to have options.
Yep. So anyway. So we go to this crypt, and inside the crypt, we have Fury. He's arming up. He's grabbing his gun. He's got his big black leather trench coat, like the duster. And then
the
one thing Fury's missing the whole show: the eye patch.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's suited up now. He's ready, and he's gonna face Gravik.
As I said before, off air, is he truly Nick Fury without the eye patch?
Nope.
He's just Fury. He's just Nick. With the eye patch, he's Nick Fury. Oh yeah. People laugh at how Fury theatrically separates each part of his outfit. I see it as Fury knowing the day will come when he is afraid. Placing obstacles brings out his resilience and dedication.
Yep.
Says Travis Mitchell.
Wise words, yes.
Wise words indeed. And of course, it ends with him cocking his gun, putting on his eye patch, walking out, all trench coated, walking out, ready to face his aggressors head on.
Oh yeah,
ready to bring this war against Gravik to an end.
Fury's gonna kill him a Super Skrull.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, probably.
Most likely. I mean,
he'll be in the room when it happens. I'm sure.
I mean, I know Fury. We know Fury won't die.
It's a safe bet, given we have the Marvels coming out, and he's very much in it.
Yeah, unless it's another.
Unless it's Gaia as Nick Fury,
pretending to be Nick Fury.
Yeah.
So that's always a possibility.
True.
But what do you want about that? It's just actually Nick Fury.
Yeah. I
mean, remember Talos pretended to be him all throughout Spider-Man.
That's true, but now Talos ain't coming back. But we know it's not a thing like Gaia came back after she was shot. Like no. Talos didn't have extremis. He got shot and we burned his body. He's not coming back, kids.
No, it's like so it could be like a father like daughter kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's a shame we won't be seeing any more Maria Hill though. Unless that's something else that guy disguises herself as. That's
probably the easiest. That's going to be the cheapest version of okay, who's she going to shapeshift into? Maria Hill, because we like Colby Smothers, and we miss her after we killed her all brutally.
Yeah, but she shouldn't have been killed.
Yeah,
it's sad. All right, so anything else last minute stuff we need to discuss on this?
No, I think I think we're looking forward to the last episode. Hopefully it'll solve some stuff, but a lot of it's going to depend on runtime, and also it's a question of how much can we exposit in the last episode. So we'll see what happens.
And I think the show has gotten better since its first impressions.
Yeah. So again, 2 onward, I think the momentum has picked up tremendously. Yeah.
Yep. So thank you, Travis, Mitchell, Code Geass, and Demona for stopping by.
That'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano a mano, just Plus and Us.
The dead man's got to have options.
My eye patch, at last.